We have an entire jam-packed regional weekend. Today we are going to be talking about the Lightsworn engine that could. Alright, and yes, there is many other lists to come as well, including a, I believe, going second adding Nestor list in another video, and some other cool stuff. Make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. The first breakdown we're going to be looking at of the many for this weekend is going to be Core TCG. Now, Core doesn't have a lot of story to tell here, other than Sword Soul was the dominating force out of this weekend. And I can tell you across a lot of these regionals, you're going to be seeing a lot of different stories here. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that this was probably the most dominant Sword Soul event of the entire weekend. That really doesn't say anything. Terms of sub-rogue for this event, you had two Tri-Brigade Lyrical Lisk, or Tri. I always lump them together. There's some sort of combination of things here. But the winner of the event was actually Drytron. Now, a lot of you guys might be like, Drytron? Really? Yeah, so amazingly, yes, Elijah actually pulled out the Core Regional and said, you know what? No. And the other most interesting thing that came out of this particular event was the Lightsworn Eldlich list that played a very small Lightsworn package to kind of make sure that you can get those truck cards in the graveyard. We've seen this style of package before out of this regional, and you're not really much of a stranger to the impact of these particular things. So understand that, yes, there is interactions and things that can be had here, ladies and gentlemen. I think that it's very important to know that hey, a small little Eldlich Lightsworn package can carry you a long way. And as I said throughout the course of the weekend, we had plenty of Phantom Knights. You had plenty more birds all over the place. You also have an Infernal list, which I will cover when we do another breakdown later on in the week here. All right, you'll see pretty much everything by the time that this weekend is over. And I also saw a Mystic Mind list winning, I believe, the side deck regional this weekend. So we'll cover those breakdowns once I get everything put together. I'm still waiting on a few deck lists and things so we can put those together. So that's just your little mid breakdown for this. Now we're going to talk about that Drytron and that Eldlich list for you guys. All right, the first is we're going to be looking at here is Elijah Cohen's first place finish. Actually, super exciting here. As you can see, we are playing the Little Herald. I mean, 2,800, 3,000, and nobody's gonna check, alright? The big thing here is you get the interaction of playing prep to go specifically search out the Herald of Perfection. I know a lot of you guys are like, ooh, like, is it worth it? Yeah. Yeah, it is. We've seen a lot of builds differentiating between this and the Big Herald. I guess it all just depends on what sub-support engine that you want to play to best go about your deck. And of course, you have the Dagda package in here, you already know. Alright, having interactions with Dagda, Scythe, and being able to make the DP pop. It's something Phantom Knights have been doing for a little while now. We're no strangers to that either. 1 Ava, 2 Herald of Orange Light's good. And I see something interesting about this particular build here is we have the Dark Rule of No Mores built into the main deck here. So if we end up going second in some of our probably worst matchups here, we can actually get to the Dark Rule No More, break those boards, and we're able to play the game. I think that's probably the reason why this duelist found the most success out of this weekend, is because of the potential to have those Dark Rule No More board breaking. Just snap your fingers. All right, we're done. I also see down here that we're citing the anti-spell fragrance. This also pretty much makes sure that when you build your board, you're not going to die to something like Dark Rule No More. Remember, Dark Rule No More is the scariest card that this deck actually has to deal with. So if you have, you know, something to protect your board here, that's what the anti-spell fragrance does. It gets you back to your turn. So you can do things. I also see we have the appointers in here as well. So you can, you know, potentially shoot something out of your opponent's hand that might also be an issue. Really glad that we have 7 cards that say no to Dark Rule or No More, or, you know, anything else that Kaiju related that could endanger our board. So pretty straightforward stuff here. I really like what this particular build wants to do here. Now next up here is second place. This is the very small Lightsworn package. That's 1 Lumina, 1 Lila, and 1 Raiden built in to this package. We're also only playing 1 Cursed Eldland. It's a lot of talking to Calvin. Calvin mentioned that, you know, Eldland is a good card, but it feels like, what is it, the longer that this deck plays out, it doesn't quite feel as good. And I feel like getting the immediate value out of these is where you're going to want to be. Also, you know, Necro banishing out the zombie world, rivalry locking your opponent. Remember, for a small 4-card engine here, you already have one of the most ridiculous floodgates at your disposal here at the end of the day. So just setting up a zombie world to put yourself in that even better position at the end of it feels pretty good. All right, like this will be the reason why you'll get the chance to win pretty much a good chunk of your games for no real reason whatsoever. And of course, in standard fashion, you also have the inspector borders that you can board in. We've already seen standard zombies doing this for quite some time now. All right, just having immediate access to pulling this in to devastate the opponent's strategy is really all that worth. Also, you know, you have all of your additional protection, skill drain, all the standard zombie stuff that you want is accessible in your side deck. Outside of that, I do like what they are attempting to do here with the very small zombie, or the very small melt package. Like I said, just getting to those resources for generation is really what you want. And also, one Guardian. I know a lot of people give this card a lot of crap, but hey man, getting it, the ability to make something 0, so your golden boy can crash in and inflict 3,500 to your opponent, feels pretty good. Also, you know, it's not like you don't have access to Boulder Cock or anything. Babaka. Alright, free zombie world, go burr. Alright. I honestly, I think this is like the best way to take advantage of all of the engines possible. All right, next up here is Bird Up. Ooh, so we are doing small world shenanigans for this particular build. We originally saw this build playing Bird Up, what was out of the previous LCS. It was the winning list here. A lot of people, I think, kind of, it went back into the dark era for a little while, went pretty quiet, and then this is finally it coming back. So they're playing the Dinotherium to bridge the gap for searchability. And of course, we are playing the 1-0. If you already know, getting the ability to negate an opponent's Dark Rule no more off of literally a free banishment from the graveyard is so absurdly good, ladies and gentlemen. Like, free real estate is literally what we're going to say for this. I also see that we are playing the 110 game here. I mean, hey, free searching, you get what you get here. And also, we are siding with Featherstorm, so we don't really see much Featherstormage in the main decks. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Featherstorm's an amazing card. It tilts games in ways that really shouldn't be possible here. But I feel like, depending on how the meta is here, most players would rather just side it, bring it in the games that they know that they're probably going to go for it first, or it's going to have like the highest impact in those matchups, because you will have some matchups where this card is god-awful, right? Especially when your opponent's like setting 5 and you're just like, oh, like what value do I really get out of this? All right. We also, of course, have the Feather Duster in here, so if anything happens to your Featherstorm, well, hey, your back row is literally getting nuked. All right, next up here is another list for you guys here. There's a lot of interesting things here. We are citing an additional copy of Zeus. That is interesting. Okay. I see that we also have Red Reboot in the main deck here. Now, if you're playing in a tournament where, for say that you know that you're going to run into a crap ton of back row, this is actually not a really bad call. Alright, birds are very, very susceptible to hand traps. I also see, unlike the previous list, this one's not as hand trap heavy. Like, we have the Veilers and the Crow. I mean, the Crow's searchable, but we don't actually have things in here like the Nibiru's or the Gammas, alright? We're just making our grind normally. Of course, the Feather Storms are in the side deck here. I also see here that we have the Mystic Mines in the side deck, so if something starts to go wrong, you actually board these in. This has been a pretty common practice across a lot of Bird Up players. I've seen it's not a lot of people that end up topping with this. I'm not to say that, like, this is a bad idea, but all things considered here, seeing this actually come up is pretty freaking relevant. All right, outside of that standard Bird Up combo, we're not playing the Oath either. So whatever ends up happening with that, it is what it is. Outside of that, yeah, the second Zeus is very interesting, but I mean, you have plenty of level 1s to convert into a second Zeus, so it's just free real estate for board wiping. And the last list I have for you guys here is David Yoon's literal 8th place finish, unfortunately. All the Swordsoul got 3rd, 6th, 7th, and 8th out of this particular event. I see that we are playing, of course, the Heavenly Dragon cycles here. Alright, we are on triple frickin' Vassal as well. I did see some of the builds were trying to go to 2-2 in this, but it looks like we are fine with playing the 42 card extended package here. Once again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Alright, whatever ends up working, works out in the long run here. But outside of that, the Draco Masters of the Tinnies also become pretty standardized for this build as well. So, nothing else really too exciting to really mention here, but that's kind of just what we're starting to develop right now for everything. So guys, what do you think about these lists? Please leave a comment about how much you guys think special of the crap out of that subscribe button, so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on today with some more cool awesome content. Peace out, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.